Let me start then. So, hello everyone. Welcome to the DevOps Saturdays today. Very good morning, afternoon, and evening based on your location. And I will try my level best to make the session interactive and alive. So please bear with me for the next 45 to 50 minutes. I'm not going to be more very technical because we have a full of the technical pools available. We have a we have everyone here in the meeting. So they have more insight and they're gonna share some of the great insight of the complete DevOps process, specifically with the Dynamic 365. So I'm sorry. Do you want to improve your release processes? Maybe you want to increase your frequency of your releases, or maybe you want to increase the quality of your software. Perhaps you want to get rid of some manual process and more towards more automated approach. Whatever your goal, Azure DevOps can help you and is the solution for you. So I hope by the end of your previous 50 minutes, you will be able to learn what DevOps is, identifying what separate allied performers with the low performers. You will be able to identify what services Azure DevOps provided, how to set up an Azure DevOps organization, and so on. Finally, you will see the demo that how one-click deployment works. So I'm not gonna much talk about the Dynamic 365 CRM, finance and operation because we have the great lineup for that one. I can take a scenario where you have a Dynamic 365 portals, which is now the open source, and you need to work like a you need to use that one, not the cloud version. So how you are going to automate those kind of application, or just say a normal MVC application or ASP.NET Core application. So I'm going to put more focus on those aspects. So before we begin, I would like to briefly speak about myself. So my name is Ambesh Singh. I'm currently working with the KPMG Deutschland as a Dynamic 365 architect and a technical manager within Microsoft practices. Prior that, I worked with the PS in Vue and EA Games, and mostly in my careers, I've worked with Microsoft in a different product groups, global consultings, and the deliveries. I'm also 365 community mentor. Be not afraid of the DevOps. Some teams are born to DevOps, some achieve DevOps, others have DevOps thrust upon them. What is the DevOps? What does DevOps matter? Why now? How to achieve DevOps successfully? Those are the topics we would like to look at. Let's try to understand that how developers and the administrator or the operational works. You know how to implement the softwares. You have several releases of that software. And with the current industry scenarios, it's more frequent as people or organizations are adopting the agile practices. This puts a lot of pressures on the dev as well as the admins or the operations. And most often they are dependent on each other's, even a release of the small patch. And you guess what the outcome then. DevOps have many features and the tools to help a team to collaborate and improve its processes. For now, think of DevOps as something that brings together people, process, and products, automating software deliveries to provide continuous values to you and your organization or your customer. The contradiction of DevOps and like a dev and ops replacing siloed development and operational to create multidisciplinary teams that now work together with the shared and efficient practices and tools. Essential DevOps practices include agile planning, continuous integration, continuous delivery, and monitoring of the applications. So in a comparison between the allied performers and the low performers, allied performer deployed more frequently, more quickly with the fewer failures. This mindsets help them better adopt to change market conditions, experiment with the new features, and recovering from the incidents with the greater resiliency. DevOps give you path to become an allied performer. Even the allied performers changes happen gradually, often starting with the most immediate challenges or the pain point. And remember, adopting DevOps practices takes time. The 2019 State of the DevOps report is based on the research that provide the most comprehensive view of the growing DevOps industry. Accordingly to the report, allied performers deploy the codes 208 times more frequently than the low performers, and they have 106 times faster changes leak time from commit to deploy than the low-code performers. Changes failure rates that are 7 times better than the low performer. As well, you can restore the services 2,604 times faster than the low-code performers. These results show that by focusing on the DevOps values, teams are not trading speeds to market for the stability. They can achieve both at the same time. Azure DevOps is a product provided by Microsoft, and it literally everything you need to take an idea and turn that idea into the working piece of software for any language targeting any platform. Azure DevOps provides several tools you can use for the better team collaboration. It also had tools to automate build process, testing, version control, and the package management. That's quite a bit to cover. We will too. We will get all of those tools eventually. So we have two flavors of the Azure DevOps, like Azure DevOps Clouds and the on-premise. So choose Azure DevOps Clouds for the enterprise-grade reliability, including a 99.9, like a 999% is SLA and a 24/7 supports, and get the new features every 3 weeks. Manage your own secure on-premise environments with Azure DevOps servers. Get source code management, automated builds, requirement management, reporting, and more. We will see more about them in the upcoming slides. So before jumping into the piece, let us understand what DevOps offer you. So Azure DevOps services and Azure DevOps servers were formerly named as a Visual Studio Team Services like VSTS and the Team Foundation Servers TFS. Both offering provided an integrated collaborative environment that support Git, continuous integration, and Agile tool for planning and tracking work. Azure DevOps Services is a cloud offering that provides a scalable, reliable, and a globally available hosted service. It's backed by a 99.9 SLE, monitored by Microsoft, like I have already explained in the previous slides. At the same time, like Azure DevOps Service is an on-premise offering that built on a SQL Server backend. Like companies usually choose on-premise when they need their data to stay with their network, or they want to access to the SQL Server reporting services, or that integrate with the Azure DevOps data and the tools. Although both offerings provide the same essential services, compared with Azure DevOps servers, Azure DevOps services offer the following added benefits. So it simplified the server management. You can get the immediate access to the latest and the greatest features provided and released on every 3 weeks from the Microsoft Azure DevOps teams. Improve the connectivity with your remote sites, or transition from your capital expenditures like server and the other stuff to the operational expenditures, which is the subscription, like from CapEx to the OpEx. So I would like to just show a few things on the browser, which is related very specific to the pricing model. And just give me a second. Let me just pop this for you. So I am not going to include the complete pricing tier in the slides, because for me, I found it really complex. So I would ping this URL over the chat window after the session, and you can have a look for that one. So we have one pricing tier available for the DevOps services, which is a cloud one. The second one is the Azure DevOps servers. So you can just go and check anyone like both of them from there, and whatever is suited to your requirements, you can just go and get it both, like anyone from that. So you can get a Visual Studio subscription with some 37 euros and something. There are multiple things available for that one. The important aspect related with the classic purchasing. So to buy or renew traditional service licenses, or the CAL, the Azure DevOps servers, or the Windows servers order, you can just get it from that one. And they have not kind of the 3-year like a contract limitation. So now there's a Microsoft is quite relaxed in that aspect. If you're thinking about the Azure DevOps services, like you can go with the individual services, the user licenses is everything available here. So like an example from the 0 to 2 GB is free, but if you're going to utilize more than that is space over the cloud, then you have to pay accordingly to the Microsoft. You can go with Azure DevOps for the open source with by which you can get the 10 free parallel jobs for the public projects. And there are a lot of other stuffs, like a kind of 1800 minutes per month is free, like around 30 hours in a month. So there are a lot of stuff available. You can get up to the 5 users free for that one. If you're just thinking about the 6 users, then you need to go and bought the separate licenses for that one. So there's like a compare features with the different licensing plans for that one. I would strongly recommend to go and have a look at, have a deep dive on it before deciding what kind of the data model you need to opt for, what kind of licensing plans you need to opt for, and everything is very well explained here. So in that case, I would definitely ask you to just go and have a look for that one. There are some brilliant FAQs available there, and there are a lot of stuffs to go through. So, like your organization supports a critical business application deployed across globe in the multiple regions. Each deployment currently takes around 13 weeks on average, and it required the most senior technical elements or the members to be on site with the deployment team to fix the many unpredicted issues that come up. Like I used to travel when I was in Microsoft to every customer location, and even now also at the time of the deployment for couple of weeks or couple of days for sure, because of maybe customer get the confidence, but this all happens because we don't have an automated process that time. And maybe it's like the for some instances customer was not agreed or they haven't planned well, or maybe their leadership, they don't have those kind of the mindsets. I'm sorry. So like to land this kind of changes to the major culture shift must occurs, as well as a process to identify the pain points and those activities they don't add values, because these activities need to be optimized or eliminated. DevOps refers to replacing the solid development and the operational to create multidisciplinary team that work together with shared and efficient practices and the tools. There are three things required to make DevOps happen. The first and the far most important is the culture component, tools and technologies, and then architecture. So the first pillar is our holistic view of the DevOps is a culture, and culture is the essential foundation of the DevOps because it required a growth and the continuous learning mindset to succeed. Leadership support is one of the critical element to the success. So accordingly to the Gartner report, cultural residence and low level of process discipline will create a significant failure rate for the DevOps initiatives. DevOps is a journey of full of challenges, and rarely are those challenges simply because of the wrong technologies or the wrong processes. In fact, the biggest and the most difficult obstacle tend to be cultural. And if you get the cultural, if you get the culture wrong, even if you get everything else right, you are headed for frustration, extra cost, and likely failure. So the Gartner research shows that through 2023, 90% of the DevOps initiative will fail because of the limitation of management approaches used by the leadership. The primary responsibility of the leadership is to create an environment that enable a successful DevOps culture. Another pillar in our holistic view is the DevOps architecture. So like a well-designed architecture, it's a kind of the highway that can rapidly deliver business values to the end of users. When it is not done right, it's like a washed out bridge blocking you from the end goals. Software architecture is about making fundamental structural choices which are costly to change once implemented. You need a great technology practices, which may include automation, AI, machine learning, etc. You need a high level of trust culture and architectures that enable you to get there. Code architecture facilitate deployability and the testability, and Azure DevOps is the key for that. The final pillar in our holistic view is that DevOps is tools and the technology. Technology continuously evolve to enable DevOps practices. Choosing the right solution with empower your team or in their DevOps journey. And here Azure DevOps come in. Azure DevOps encompass the entire tool chain from the source control, like either you're using Git or the team foundation server, through the continuous integration, release automation, or even product monitoring. Let's see what all this service Azure DevOps provide to us. So Azure boards. Track works with configurable Kanban boards, interactive backlogs, and powerful planning tool. Unparalleled traceability and reporting makes board a perfect home for all of your ideas, either it's big or small. With Azure DevOps web services, teams can manage their software projects. It provides a rich set of capabilities to include native support for Scrums and the Kanban, customizable dashboards, and integrated reporting. The tool can scale up your business like as your business grows. You can quickly and easily start tracking user stories, backlog items, task features, and the bug associated with your project. You track works by adding work items based on your process and work items types available in your project. With Azure Repos, you will get flexible, powerful Git hosting with effective code reviews and unlimited free repositories for all of your ideas from one-person project to the world's largest repository. Azure Repos is set of the version control tool that you can use to manage your code, whether your software projects is large or small. Using version control as soon as possible is a good idea. Version control systems are softwares that help you to track changes you make in your code over the time. As you edit your code, you tell your version control system to take a snapshot for your files. The version control system saves that snapshot permanently so you can recall it later if you need it. Use version controls to save your works and coordinate changes like your code changes across your teams. Even if you're just a single developer, version control help you to stay organized as you fix bugs and deploy new features. Version controls keep a history of your development so that you can review and even roll back at any point of time any version for your code with ease. Azure Repos provide the two types of version controls, and one is the GitHub, which is the distributed version control and the most favorite nowadays. The earlier one was used by the Team Foundation version control like TFVC, which was the centralized version control. Okay. So Azure Pipelines, like with Azure Pipelines, you can build, test, and deploy any language to any cloud or on-premise. Run in a parallel on Linux or the Mac OS and Windows and deploy containers to the individual host or maybe the Kubernetes. Azure Pipelines is a cloud service that you can use to automatically build and test your code project to make it available to the other users. It works with just about any language or the project type. Azure Pipelines combine the continuous integration and the continuous delivery like the CI/CD to constantly test and build your code and ship to any of the target. Implementing CI and CD pipelines help to ensure consistent and the quality code that reliability and the readability available to the user. And Azure Pipelines provide a quick, easy, and safe way to automate building your projects to making them available to the users. So you use your pipeline because it supports the following scenarios. You can work with any of the languages or platform, deploy it to the different type of the target at the same time, integrate with Azure deployments, build on Windows, Linux, or the Mac machine, integrate with the GitHubs, work with the open source project. So if you use the public projects, Azure Pipelines is free. If you're using the private project, you can run up to 1800 minutes, like around 30 hours of pipeline jobs for every month freely. Now, with Azure test plans, you can often test and release the confidence, improve your overall code quality that manual exploratory testings tools for your apps. Quality is a vital aspect for any of the software system, and manual testing and exploratory testings continues to be an important technique for maximizing this. In today's softwares, like a development process, everybody in a team own the quality. Like it's not only the responsibility for the tester that they own the quality, it's including the developers, managers, product owners, user experience, advocates, and more people over the team. So Azure DevOps and TFS provide a rich, powerful tool everyone in the team can be used derived drive quality and the collaboration throughout the development process. The easy-to-use browser-based test management solution provide all the capabilities required for plant and the manual testing, user acceptance testings, exploratory testings, and gathering feedbacks time to time from the stakeholders. Now, the last one is the Azure Artifacts, and you can create and share like Maven, NPM, or the NuGet packages, um, feed from the public and the private sources with teams of any of the size. So you can add a fully integrated package management to your continuous integration, continuous delivery pipelines with a single click. Azure Artifacts is an extension to the Azure DevOps services and Azure DevOps servers. It comes with pre-installed with the Azure DevOps services, Azure DevOps servers 2019 and the TFS 2017 and 18. So Azure Artifacts is the new home for the package page under the build and the release page groups in the previous navigation UX of Azure DevOps services and the TFS. So Azure Artifacts introduce the concept of multiple feeds that you can use to organize and control access to your packages. If you are familiar with using packages from the NuGet.org or npm chairs, you can think of those places as a single feed. You might also heard feeds called package repositories or the package source, especially if you're an npm or the Maven user. So extension marketplace, like they have access of 1000 plus extensions, or maybe you can create your own. You have a time trackers, Docker integration, Slack integration, Sentry, GitHub integration, and you just name it. And the connectors are available in the marketplace for the Azure DevOps. You can check the complete list by visiting marketplace.visualstudio.com/Azure DevOps. So just an example, like if you're focusing on the code, then you can use the Eclipse, you can use Zira, Git. If you are building, you can use Maven, you can use Gradle. If you are testing, you can use JUnit, SE, like a Selenium. If you are on the release, you can use the Bamboo, or you can use the check-ins. To monitor that, you can use the Splunk, which is one of the very popular tool. You can use Nagios, Census. So there are a lot of stuff already available there, like depending what phase and what kind of the extension you would like to that. So if you need to deploy, you can go with the Puppet, you can go with the Chef, you can go with the like a Salt stack. So it's available for you. You just name it and it is available there. And there is again an advantage, like you can create your own connectors. So it's nice way to explore that thing. Now take a baby step to start with the DevOps. First thing, you need a project. So you need to visit to the dev.azure.com, and from top right corners, click on the new project button. From the pop-up, you need to be very wisely to select from available options. So you have a public and the private. I will show you in the demos as well. So public, for our organizations, we disable it. We don't want to create a public like a public solutions or organizations. You can just go with the private one, and then you have a version control. You can just check with the Git, and you have a VSTs. You have the work item processes. You can explore that. You can just go and explore the organization setting if you're the admin. So a lot of stuffs are already there. So if you're talking about the work item process, like an example, you have a capability maturity model integrations like a CMMI, and this is really a large organizations, and like it used to for the large organization, it's a kind of the complicated, which I felt it. You have a scrums that depend on the scrum master who led the scrum teams. The scrum master makes sure everybody understands the scrum theory, practices, and the rules. So if you have a scrum master, then someone who's usually received some of the training or the certification, you can opt for that one. Agile, that seems like to be obvious choice since people always talk about Agile, but it has a few more things to consider than the simplest option, which is the basic. Well, basics, it's simple, but give you enough power to start going efficient planning right away. And that's why we can pick that too. So in a basic workflow, you can move your work items from to do to doing to done. You can create your own work items process templates based on the existing one. So you can extend that actually. So if you need to go with the Agile with some more modification, you can just create a copy for that one, and you can extend those two. So let's directly jump into the system now. And I would like to show you again browser. So this is something I available. So you just need to visit to the Azure dev.azure.com, and then you uh, let me just quickly go to the home page. And your organization is the key parameter or the unique parameter here, and it identify with that one. So if you're creating the another organization, it need to be a kind of the unique URL or the unique name for you. And you can go and explore the organization setting. Let me just quickly show you. So you can just check, okay, what all the overview of your organization, like your privacy URLs. You can add the time zones. You can change the owners if you want. If you're the global admin, you can delete the org as well. You have a project, so you can create a number of projects, how many you've wanted there. You have all the users landed here, so you can change their roles, their permission, and everything. The most important aspect is the billing, so always have a look for that one, and it's really useful. So you can change your billing, you can configure it that. And like an example, if 1800 minutes, okay, I don't want to just go with the paid parallel job, so it's 0. The basic user license are 5, so I can go with that. If I just need to extend like basic plus test plans, I can extend with the start free trials. So a lot of stuff is already available there, up to 2 GB is free. So I'm using that one for the artifacts, something like that. You can go with the auditing. So if someone is making any changes, you can always have an audit log. You can export those log in Excel. And then you can set the global notification. If there is some changes you have some planned or something, then this is gonna notified you. You can get the users that, okay, what is the current like analytic or the insight for that one. So you can get all the users for that. You can definitely check the extensions. Like if you installed any of the extension from the marketplace, you can go and have a look for that one. As well as you can just go and explore the Azure Active Directory. So you can connect it, you can disconnect it, and something like that. So you can set the policies and the permissions, like you can implement and derive the securities from here. So an example, I may created the groups here. I can derive all of those permission sets. I can set the policies. So an example, if you can see here, security policies, I not allowed to create a public projects, and I will show you in the demo that, okay, how it's look like. So it will be faded, and you will get a notification that your organization don't allow that one. The same thing, like you can mention or change the process boards. Then you have a pipeline, so you can change the things in the pipelines. Like you can change the settings for that. You can check the parallel jobs at any point of time. You can change the auth configurations, and then you can as well as check the artifact. So you have whole everything is available there. So if you can see on this particular list, I have a private project, is a Microsoft hosted. It's a free tier, one parallel job up to 1800 minutes per month is available there. If it is a self-hosted, 5 parallel jobs. If it is a free, like if it is free parallel jobs, it's one, and the 4 with the Visual Studio Enterprise subscription, something like that. If it's a Microsoft hosted, it's a self-hosted. So with the self-hosted, you can go with the unlimited parallel jobs. Microsoft provide you the 10 parallel jobs in the public projects. So something like it's already available there. So I would again go back there. And I told you like how to create a project. So just click on the new project, give the name of the project here, give the description, like for what you are creating the project. I told you, like as per my organization policy, I cannot create the public projects. It has the tons of the benefit if you are going with the public projects, but it's an organization policy, so I cannot overcome that one. You can then opt for the private one, and you can just click on the advanced, and here you will get more stuff. Like by default it's Git, so you can choose in between from the Git and the Team Foundation version control. For my demo, because I opt for the Team Foundation version control. And the second thing is, like you have a work item process, so you can choose Agile, you can choose Basics, CMM, Scrums, and you can get your extended work item processes as well here. So you can opt anyone from that. So the moment you choose, everything will be okay. You just need to click on the create. So I just created this DevOps CI/CD project for that demo purpose. So let me just open this one. Okay, so it is kind of the home page for you, and I will just quickly give a walkthrough. Like on the left hand side, you can see some menus. On header, you have a toolbar, so you can access the marketplace. You can just see all of your work items, pull requests, and the favorites from there. You can get the instance help. You can, if you want, you can make the changes on your profile, like if there is any changes you need to change the time and the local, you move to the different location for project work, you can definitely go and change it, so you will be in the sync with all the timelines. And you can like enable disable notification, you can manipulate those things. So those things you can do with with your personal profile. The dashboard look like this. And I'm sorry. So you can get the project status, and you can opt from like last 1 day, last 7 days, and last 30 days. So it will give you a brief and overview of that one, that okay, what is going into the project from the dashboard perspective. What important aspect, like in the dashboard, you can even like enable something like if you need a specific chart, specific values, then you can enable that one. So I enable, okay, what is the pipeline stuff and what is the build analytics, I just push that one. I will show you a few more dashboards, maybe from the different projects. It's just for the demo, so I haven't included much there. The next important is the analytic view, so you can have a the flavor for that one. It will give you the complete insight for that. You can enable the wiki for your project, and then you can start with the boards. So an example for the boards, basically, if you can see here. So like Azure boards provide the like kind of the following interactive list, and signboards. Each tools provide a filtered set of work items. All tools supports viewing and the defining the work items. So like an example, you have a work items in the Azure boards, and that used to quickly find out the work items that are assigned to you, like pivots or the filters work items based on the other criteria, such as the work items that you follow, that you have mentioned in, or maybe that you just viewed or updated one. So that is the one thing. Let me, sorry, quickly show one of the project where you will see the work items, the proper boards, wikis, and everything. Um, Let me just pull this project here. Second. So you can get a wiki for that one, like, okay, what all the things are available, like you can just to surface those information. In a summary, the dashboards you can get as well, like if you want very specific dashboard, okay, what is the condition, anybody can come and just have a look, okay, what is going on inside the project. So you can get the complete insight of your project, or maybe the complete life cycle management, that what is going on, how many bugs are there, what deployment is going on, what task the business team is discussing with the customer, something like that. You can get a complete insight that one. Your analytic view, yeah, like it's provide you the by default. You can even just provide the wiki, because if you're working for the customer, definitely customer also have an access for your DevOps, because they can raise a bugs or something. They can work on the work items. So you can just mention them, okay, how to use the teams, how to use the Azure DevOps, like something, and they can get a complete insight for that one. So I was talking about the Azure boards. So the work items are like I have already explained. So you will get a complete list of the work items, like last 30 days or whatever is assigned to you. Those all the information. So you can get a complete insight for that one. You can create your work items, and every option is already available. You can manipulate the column options. You can import it or something like that. If accidentally you deleted something, you can import it again from the recycle bin. The next important thing is the boards. So the boards present the work items as a card and support quick status updates that drag and drop. The feature is similar to the sticky notes on a physical whiteboards, and used to implement Kanban practices as visualize the flows or the work for a team. So it's very familiar, like we used to do in the older days, or the boards or something. So that is the boards. The backlogs basically present work items as a list. So a product backlog represent your project plans, and a repository that all the information you need to track it to share with your team, management, or the stakeholders. Portfolio backlogs allow you to group or organize your backlog in a hierarchy way, so you can plan, prioritize, and organize your works and accordingly. The next important thing is a sprint, because definitely like most of the organization now work on the agile, and they have the sprints from 2 weeks to the 4 weeks, or in on average like 2 to 3 weeks. So sprint backlogs and the task board provide a filter view for your work items that team assigned to a specific iteration path of the sprint. I'm sorry for that. So from your backlog to you can assign the works to an iteration path from using just a drag and drop. You don't need to write a code. You don't need to just go much in that one. You can then view that work as a separate sprint backlogs. You can implement Scrum practices and so on. And then you have a queries. So queries are the filter list as work item based on your criteria that you define by using your query editors, and use a query to support the following tasks. Like you can find out groups or the work items that something is in common, or you can list work items that is purpose of sharing with others or doing bulk updates, triage a set of items to the prioritize or assign, and create a status or trend charts that you can add to the dashboard. Like you can just go with a shared one, or you can just create your own one. So it is altogether available to you. So if you have something favorite, you can see in the favorite. If it is not, then you can see your own queries. You can see some of the shared queries, which generally created by the leads or the managers, where everyone can have a simplified views. So this is somehow more or less is available for you. Now go to the repos, and for the repos, I would quickly go back to my CI/CD pipeline project. Okay, give a second, and here's pop-up. So I just explained you about board. Now you can see the repos because I use the VSTS. So I have the file change it self set. If you use the Git, it can be changed accordingly. And if you're using some of the external marketplace extensions, then those will be added into this one. So like you can see your files, you can see your change sets, like what all the change set you did. If you created a shell set, you can get all the insight from a common place. So the other important aspect is the pipeline. Like if you're on the pipeline, which I would focus more on that one. So you can create your own pipeline for your CI/CD stuff. You can so suppose like an example, I have two pipelines here. Like one is for my DevOps CI/CD for the continuous integration aspect, and the second one is for the legacy systems. So you can go and change or create more one. I will explain a bit more into that one in a moment. Then you can go and create a kind of the global environment settings, and then you can share with like in your pipeline stuff, or the release pipeline is basically like pipeline is basically for the continuous integration. Releases is for the deployment. So if you have a CD aspect, then you can create your own releases. You can edit this. You can add the new one, and it's pretty much flexible. And we used to see this complete CI/CD stuff throughout the day. So I'm not going to put much focus on that one. Then we have a call of the library. So if you have something, you can create a kind of the common variable groups here, and you can put it in the library, and then you can use it everywhere. Like suppose you need to pick a build from some common places, then you can just keep it in a variable group, and then you can keep using that one as a variable group instead of just putting the hard-coded values or something. You have a task groups, you have a like a deployment groups. It's not created yet, but you can have a look for that one. So you can even create the task groups and the deployment groups. The white source bolt, I have included one of the free marketplace extension, and it's more for my code quality stuff. Like we already saw the Sonar cubes and others, like Pradesh already explained that thing, but I just give a quick view of that one. Like it's a free version of the white source. You can get the paid version. So what is my vulnerability score? It's high. My code is definitely not good. Honestly, I'm not sure why, because I haven't changed anything. It's the code provided by the Microsoft. I just use the normal ASP.NET MVC application and host it there in the repos. But in short, like you can get a quick overview, and for me, like it's kind of the really helpful. Like you can get a complete vulnerabilities, you can get the description, how to fix that one, and it's give you the complete insight. And I found really helpful for that one. Um, so you can get for the paid version also, like you will just Google it and you found out the complete detail for that one. So something you can get it there. Then you can move to the test plans. As we know, like it's play the vital role or the important role when you delivered any of the software products. So you need to just go, you can create the test plan, you can see the progress reports, you can parameterize this for the different environments, different systems, or the machines specific, or the operating system. You can make a configuration there, you can check the runs, you can go even the load test, and then finally the artifacts. So I haven't pushed anything there, but you can definitely go and just create anything if you need for the GitHub or the other marketplace like the NPMs or somewhere. So you can connect and go there. Now I would quickly move to the pipeline. And before moving to here, like I would quickly show, let me just click one of them. To see the insight. So it will give me the complete insight that, okay, how many times the build runs and everything. You can even get more details. You can retain it. You can just to check the more details by clicking on that, and you will get the complete log for that. If you are in the dev one, or if you're thinking that, okay, it's maybe failing because of something before before triggering this pipeline, you can just enable the diagnosis log. You can get the complete insight out for that one. So it shows my related stuff like, okay, 0 work items are assigned or correlated with my check-ins. One item is published. I can see my test coverage there, when it is started, what would be the duration, and the complete the complete repository and their version. So it's 500. It's a random one provided by the Microsoft based on those agents. Like based on the agents. So you can get this one on the release one. You can see, okay, there wasn't pipeline, but it's correlated with this release. You can see the extension. So like for me, like my Sonar Cloud Analysis report says it's passed, it's not failed. You can see the code coverage. Currently I haven't included anything, but you can include it. And then again, you can see the white source build report. So you will get a brief and the concise reports there, and you can act accordingly if you think that, okay, something is not good, and it's the common responsibility from the operation, because it's not everything dev did wrong, but there might be something missing from the operation. So you can get those reports as well here. So this is something which I would like to explain for the pipeline. Let me just quickly show you the release. So in the release again, like you can get okay, how many releases you have. So you can get the detail if you have something like what the releases happen in the recently. So you can get the details of that one. If you need more insight, you can go on a specific release. You can create your own release from here. Like an example, if I just need to specifically release this particular a specific CI stuff, like specific pipeline, you just click on the create release, and just a second, let it to pop up. Just bear with me for a sec. Okay. I will come to this soon. Let me just check the other stuff. So it's a complete deployment where it got deployed and everything, what branch, what build. You can get all of your analytics, like if there is any test cases associated with that, like how it's performing and everything. So you can get those insight as well. And then I would quickly show something in the pipeline. Okay, just let me see if my internet is properly working. It's a bit slow, but it's fine. So an example, I just need to go for this one. Okay, so you can run the pipeline manually from here, and you can manage the security stuff. You can rename, or you can move it to the different way. And what I would like to show the edit one. So edit to be there. By the time it is loading, what I need to do, I just quickly open my project on like on the browser itself. I just need to make some changes so I can show you like how it's work and implement it. So an example, 365. Sorry for that. So I'm trying to make few changes so I can figure it out. It's working fine. And then check in the solution. And here I can just say, okay, what the changes I did, maybe a comment. If there is any work item I can associate with that particular work item. For now, I'm not going to associate with anything because I don't have an task here. But it's always wise to just associate any of the changes with the work item. So you can even, after changing, you can resolve or associate, like you can make in a two-way. And it's always associated with that. And you get a clear picture, okay, with this change set, what all the work items do you associated. So if there is any bugs coming or if someone is trying to review that one, it's always give you the clear picture to them. So what I did meanwhile, I have just checked in this one. I will look into the pipelines meanwhile. So maybe I just need to close this for a sec. Okay, so I'm trying to figuring it out, but I will duplicate it so I can show the progress as well there. And then I will back on this browser window. Okay, just give me a second. It's good. Okay, so here, like you can just add as much, like the first thing as a container, you need to use the add the agent, and then you can add as much as the task you want to make automate. And then you have a variable. So if you need to put some like there are some already system defined. I haven't used any variable, but it's always advisable to use the variable because if you need to make any changes, you definitely don't need to go on the task level. You can just change from the variable level here. And there are few predefined system variables like system collection ID, debug definition ID, and the team project. So this you can get it from there. The triggers is again an important, like when might this pipeline need to be triggered. So I just enable like the continuous integration. I give the path specification, like from where it need to pick the values, and if any changes happen there, like I included this one. So if any changes happen in this particular path, it need to be included in the pipeline. So by this way, I'm just trying to automate it. So I don't like as I shown you, I just clicked on the check-in. I didn't do anything on the DevOps CI/CD pipeline, and it's automated to start building that thing. So if you can see like a blue mark here, so it's currently running. If it is ticked, like it's successfully executed. I will come back on this as well in a couple of minutes. And this is, you can schedule it. You can make some more stuff like, okay, after build completion, if you need to clean up or something, you can mention those things. You have an option available there. You have a retention available there. So you can just go and validate this too. So an example, my build job need to be timeout after 60 minutes, or it need to be cancel timeout for the 5 minutes. So I don't want to run my build if it is stucking with somewhere for whole day or something. I don't want to block my resource. So I could just think it, okay, a normal situation, my application is taking 30 minutes, so I could go for 45 minutes or maybe 1 hour, but not definitely for 5 hours or for maybe 24 hours or whole day. So if it is not building in those duration, definitely just give the timeout, and in that case, fail the build and notify to the particular stakeholders. So I can make some more changes here. I can enable the queues for starting building, like as soon the eligible agent is available, and I can make the changes from there. I can automatically link the new work items in the builds, like it will create a new work item, and it will suppose you have included one. At the moment when I was doing the check-in, there was an option for the associate change sets or the task. So if I just add one of the task from that particular list, it will create a associated task against that one, and it will notify, okay, there is some change set associated with that. So it will give you the picture for that. You can go and check it in the particular tasks descriptions or the histories or the associations. And then if something is getting failure, you can also just create a automated like a work items for that one. And it's really important, like if you're working really in a productive environment or something. You can go and check the retention, that okay, how long you need to just keep it. So it need to be derived from the project settings. So like I told you, like it's around 60 minutes, sorry, 60 days or something. You derived from there. So you can go in the project setting and you can configure it from there. You can check the histories as well, like all the complete inside out, that okay, what all the changes happen in this particular pipeline. So it's always good and advisable if someone like someone is making the changes, they can give a brief comment. So if someone is reviewing those things, it's easy for them to find out okay what exact changes they have been done, because it's not kind of the code view that okay, you have one code, you have another code in the source control, and you just right click and compare the code. So comment is really playing a significant role here. So let me check it here, and my build is failed because of some reason. It's perfectly fine. I can just go and check it. But meanwhile, I will just quickly pop up my Outlook, and I will see okay what happened there. So if you can see here, it's run for the 3 minute, and it's a task failed with the status with some validation, like some validation issues here, something like that. And it's only possible to rebuild the past in a chronicle order. So let's me try to again check in something, and let's see that one. Okay. You just need to click it. You can do it as well as from the Visual Studio. I found the browser much easy and convenient, so I can do it from here. Something, check in. We will see it like more, but meanwhile, I can show you the few more stuff. So an example, forget about this failure, which is good. Like you got the complete insert for that one. So this one, the previous one, which I just did a couple of hours ago, it was successfully built, and I can see the results from there. You just like all of the admin, you need to set up those things, that okay, who can see all of the insight, like about the build runs, the complete progress, if something got failed. So you need to map those things in your project settings. And on the top of that, like I got a successful one in my release pipeline. There was a scenario like because the idea was I built it for the dev environment, and then there was a tester who will test everything, and then test lead will give the sign off before pushing it to the UAT environment. So I just pushed the UAT task. I got pushed the approval task there, and I got an approval workflow here. So I can go to the approval. I can then either approve or disapproved with my comments, that okay, why I'm approving, like maybe all test cases pass. If I'm not approving the build need to be go to the UAT or the production, I can decline it. And I can say, okay, this don't need to be go, because by the time like there was a lot of P1 issues, so we cannot go with the 2 or 3 P1 issues, it need to be fixed, something like that. So you can play around with that too. And let me just check again by refreshing this one. What is the status for that? And then I will show you something in the release pipeline, like how this approval stuff I have injected for that quickly. So you can go there, you can edit it. It's running currently on this window. Let's see this one. So it's artifacts. I can check, okay, what would be the trigger conditions, or the trigger condition I have just enabled like for the deployment too. So if something got in the particular branch, it will found something, then it need to be trigger. So I just enable this. I can schedule it like maybe on every Friday, I need to just get a complete build and need to deploy, or maybe every fortnight. So I can do that too. I just created the stage. So the first stage is providing like or deploying it on the dev environment. The second is deploying to the UAT. I just put the small check in between, like I just put the approval here, and I just said, okay, who need to approve? You can just add the user from your org here, and then you can make few of the settings here, like what would be the timeout for the approval. Like if it is, I'm not getting any response from this user for till 30 days, you need to be timeout, and then I can make more on the top of more settings on that one. So it's all configured. You don't need to write a single line of code. You just need to see what, like by doing what you can achieve it. So it's more tactical stuff what you need to be focused on while deploying it. And definitely with every project setup, you will learn a lot of, because it's a ever never like ending learnings for you. Let me just quickly check it here by refreshing it if it is built. If not, then I will just quickly go to my pipeline here, and I will show you the approval meanwhile. Okay. So what I'm gonna do, I just create a new release here. And I just pick the where I want to release. So maybe on the UAT I want to release, what kind of the build I want to release, maybe the latest or whatever. I can give a release description that we need to push to UAT, kind of create, and then you just need to wait for a sec. Let's refresh it. So the basic idea is like anyway, like if you're using an example Dynamic 365 on-premise, and in that case, if you have a Dynamic 365 portals on-premise, then you can just, because it's a MVC-based application, so you can create like your own. You can push it to your own source control. You can just to set up with your Dynamic 365 instance, and you can then automate this kind of scenarios for your CI/CD stuff. So every time, nobody need to just put everything if there is any code changes or something. I would again quickly show you. So I just got an intimation that my build is successful here, and I can see the results here. And at the same time, I got an for the approval one. So an example, I just click on the view approval, and it will just land me to the approval page. Just quickly check it, and just quickly refresh by the time it here, because it's a dev, and I should see the results there. Okay. So if you can see, like here, 365 Saturdays I have updated here, and the changes are getting reflected. And next is here. I can just quickly check. I have a couple of minutes available. So I can click on the approve or the disapprove from here. It's up to you what you want to do. So I want to approve it to the next moment. I can give my description or the comment. Okay, I want to approved, or okay, testing done, or something like that with all of the notes. Sorry. And if I can approve or disapprove, like I can approve or reject, and then it start with the next staging that, okay, it will deploy on the UAT. At the same, I can put check between the UAT and the production too. So this is more or less which I was about to talk to you. So I have just compiled a few links here, and it will be very useful for your DevOps journey. Like it must go links there. I'm really thankful to all of you to spend your valuable time today, and looking for your positive feedbacks and suggestion. Please scan the QR code or use the short URL mentioned here to access the feedback form. It will not take more than 20 seconds, believe me, to provide your valuable response, but it really means a lot to me to improve myself in the upcoming sessions. So
thanks again, Ambesh. And again, a great walkthrough of the features of Azure DevOps. And we have hit the end of the hour already. There are a couple of questions, so let's quickly answer a couple of questions. Sabjan Sama is asking, hi, can we limit users from not creating public projects in an organization as part of governance? That's the first question by Sabjan Sama.
So I didn't get it. Like the question is, can we create the public projects, or we can't create that one?
Is there a way to limit users from creating public projects?
Honestly, I haven't found any configuration value with the best of my knowledge that we can limit it. For me, I think if you are going for the public project, you can go and opt for that via the organization policies. So you can like allow or disallow creating the public project, but I don't think so. There's a limit. Maybe.
Ambijet is asking a very, I say, a question which I think is on a lot of our minds, most of the world's minds, in fact, is which tool is better in your opinion, VSTS or Jira?
It's a very tricky question because for me, if I know anything, even if it is a complex or like complicated, I would always go for that one because I have a confidence level on that stuff. So I was using Jira for most of the project. I'm using like VSTS. I found more comfortable in the VSTS, but I cannot say okay Jira is bad or something like they have own their different characteristics. So there are something good in the VSTS, there are something good in the Jira. So I can just send the brief comparison between those tools over the chat window after the call, and maybe I can just pick quickly the next question.
I think it would be really good to actually cover a session actually on user story management. I know it's not a developer session as such, but I think there would be value in a comparison between the features of user story management, because I think it is a common use case. And in fact, so there's a question by Dash asking, what is the rollback mechanism in Azure DevOps? I guess we can catch that up in the following sessions. Wales answering, you can redeploy a previous version or invoke a special rollback pipeline. Yes, so again, we've come to the end of the session. Thanks again, Ambesh. You do deliver a lot of sessions covering lots of different topics. Please follow Ambesh on LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube. He's definitely doing as much as he can for the community. Please provide